Hello, my name is Emily Lovelace and this video is for Ragazzi Mobile Wellness. I typically teach on Sundays at Honeybee Coffee in South Knox, but right now we're not having classes. So this video class is in lieu of that. I've been thinking a lot about what people might need and what I need during this time, and it's been really difficult to maintain productivity and to feel like doing much of anything. And so I wanted to share with you my personal practice when I have really low energy and sort of how I get my body moving so that I feel like doing anything at all. You may, just a quick disclaimer, you may hear some buzzing. I have carpenter bees out on my porch and they're louder than you would think. So they're going to be flying around a little bit. Anyways, so if you hear buzzing on the camera, that's what that is. This video was recorded without any music, but if you would like to play music in the background, feel free. And if you need any playlists, I have most, if not all, of my yoga playlists are public on my Spotify account, or even on Ragazzi's Spotify account. If you just DM us, we can send you plenty of recommendations. So we'll get started. A few things that you may want to consider having before you really get into this video. I'm going to use blankets and suggest that you use blankets a few times. It doesn't have to be a blanket exactly like this. It can be any blanket as long as it is a bit supportive and not super squishy. You may want blocks. If you don't have blocks, yoga blocks, you can use books or any other strong support, as long as, you know, it's not going to be cumbersome. You definitely don't need them, but you could use them. Another thing would be to grab a strap. If you don't have a yoga strap, a belt could work, or even just a rope. And then I have a bolster here. You don't have to have a bolster. If you don't have an actual bolster, you can use a pillow or a stack of pillows. We won't use it so much for support as we will later on for relaxation. So just keeping those things handy. And then we'll come to an easy sit, grounding into the sit bones, stacking one vertebrae over the other, closing the eyes, release the shoulders away, relax the muscles of the face, and start to bring the chin toward the chest just slightly. Breathe into the belly, up into the chest, out of the chest and out of the belly. Take a few soft breaths here. And just start to feel in the body and let the mind and the thoughts start to fall away from consciousness. Being aware that they're there without attachment. Blink the eyes open. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhale, palms to heart center. If things are in your way, you can inhale your arms straight out. Exhale to heart center. One more. Inhale up. Exhale to heart center. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, the left hand comes down, the right hand comes over. And we'll start to open up the chest, bringing the bottom rib cage forward, the upper rib cage back. The arm overhead stretches. The opposite leg is falling away, creating space in the side body. Breathing here. You can play with taking that arm down to the floor, but if your sit bone starts to pop up, then come back up. You might even walk out a little. Inhale here. Exhale, come through center and switch sides. Again, rotating the bottom rib cage forward, the upper rib cage back. Stretching through those upper fingertips, creating as much space between the upper fingertips and the knee as possible. Breathing into the belly and up into the chest. One more deep inhale here. Deep exhale. And come back out. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, the right hand comes back, the left hand comes across. And starting to twist. Using your inhales to lengthen your spine and your exhales to deepen into the twist. Keep both sit bones grounded here. If you start to feel yourself lift off on one side, come out of the twist a little. Remembering to breathe. Inhale, release. And we'll switch to the other side. Inhaling the arms up. Lifting through both sides of the ribs. Exhaling to twist. This time bringing your left hand back and your right hand across. Inhaling to lift and exhaling to deepen. Inhale and untwist. And we'll do a few seated cat-cows. Now, cat-cows typically are done on the hands and knees, but since we'll be seated, we still need something to ground into. Lift your knees slightly and find those sit bones. And then once you find both evenly, let the knees go. Take the palms of your hands and grip them onto the front of your knees. Your arms will be straight, but still with the ability to bend. Lift through the heart, all the way through the throat. Inhale, the gaze rises, the chest pulls forward. Using the arms to really pull your heart forward. Inhale. And on your exhale, start to round the back from the base of the spine, all the way up to the back of the neck. Letting the arms lengthen here, the chin draws to the chest. Inhale, sitting back up, pulling the chest through the arms, opening the throat. Exhale, rounding the back all the way to the shoulders. And maintain your movement here with your breath. Inhaling up. And exhaling out and rounding. Creating space with both movements. On the inhale, creating space in the front body. And on the exhale, creating space in the back body. Practice breathing into the belly, up into the chest. Out of the chest and out of the belly. Moving at your own pace. Take a few more here. We're moving really slowly, just starting to wake up the body and remind ourselves what feels good. And on your next exhale, fully round, breathe all the way out. And on your next inhale, come back to center and to neutral. And we'll start to move into our legs and our hips now. We'll bring the soles of our feet together for Baddha Konasana, cobbler's pose, or bound angle pose. Bring the soles of the feet together and find those sit bones again. Bring the knees toward the shoulders and rock gently back and forth. And then once you find that balance between right and left, let the knees go. You have a few options here with your hands. You can grab the fronts of your shins. You can bind your fingers and wrap them around the toes. Or you can take a more passive approach and just reach your hands out in front of you, either with the hands down or the palms up. Wherever you are, take a deep breath here. Lift through the heart. And on your exhale, start to deepen into this fold. You might bring your elbows in front of your shins. We're looking for a sensation in the inner thighs that's comfortable and not painful. You may feel some discomfort as we move into this at first, but it should lessen the longer that we're here. If at any point you feel like it's too intense, you can always come back a little. Wherever you are, take a deep inhale and let it go. If you start to feel any sensation in your low back, come back out of the fold and see if that helps, keeping the spine lifted as you bend forward. Inhale here. And exhale. And whether or not you've been following my classes, either in person or if you watched the last video, we'll come back into the practice of finding happiness. If your eyes are not already, go ahead and close them. And try to find a small smile on your face. And imagine something that makes you happy. Maybe it's gathering with friends. Maybe it's looking at a flower or something in nature. Maybe it's something that someone said to you recently, or something that you saw someone else do for another person. Whatever it may be, relax your forehead, but allow your face to come into a smile. Witness the feeling of happiness in your body. You may not feel like being happy right now, but I promise you, happiness, like anything, is a skill. And even when the things that make us happy are not present actively, we can still feel happiness. Let go of the thing that you've been imagining, trying to hold that feeling of physical and emotional happiness. Blink the eyes open and inhale all the way back up. Come back into your physical body and notice any sensation on the inner thighs. Bring both palms under both knees and very gently bring the knees together and straighten the legs. And windshield wiper those feet out, bringing the knees side to side. Just opening back up those hips a little bit. And take a deep breath. All right. Bend both knees. And we're going to start opening up the hips a little more. So bring the right leg under the left leg. The right knee faces forward. Inhale, grounding into those sit bones once more. And on your exhale, start to take your left leg across. You may be here. You may be able to move a little deeper. Well, the final stage of this pose is to stack the knees over one another. But that can be really difficult while still maintaining grounding between the sit bones. So make sure that you keep that grounding. And if you're here, then that's okay. Wherever you are, you can grab the fronts of your shins or grab your feet. And we'll ground into those sit bones. Inhale, lift the heart. And exhale, either stay straight spined or start to fold over the legs. You may want to walk your hands out to your sides or even out in front of you. You might start to bring your chin to your chest. Taking a deep breath here, walking out if necessary. And when I say walking out, I mean coming out of the pose just a little, bringing the hands back toward the body, walking out of the posture. Close the eyes if they're not already. And practice breathing into all four corners of your lungs. Maybe picking back up that thing that makes you happy. If you've been practicing this, maybe just bringing the feeling of happiness to your body. In my own body, relaxing my forehead and my temples is a big part of being able to fully feel happiness. Take a deep breath here. And on your exhale, come back to a seat, coming all the way up. And we'll keep our legs crossed for the moment. Bring the right hand down. Inhale the left arm overhead, lifting through both sides of the rib cage. Inhale, and on your exhale, start to walk that right hand out away from the body while opening up the heart. Rotating the bottom rib cage forward, the upper rib cage back, extending through those upper fingertips. Maintain grounding in both sit bones. You may not feel it as intensely here. You may feel a little more cushion and bone, and that's okay. We just want to make sure that we're evenly spaced in our seat. Breathing here. Exhale. One more inhale. And on your exhale, come through center and switch sides. This time your right hand should be overhead. We're picking the chest up and opening the heart here. Feeling a sensation in the outer right hip. Rotating the bottom rib cage forward and the upper rib cage back. Continuing to breathe into all four corners of the lungs. One more deep breath. Exhale, come all the way up. Very slowly we'll uncross our legs, grabbing the ankle of the top leg and very slowly bringing it over and uncrossing that bottom leg. And again, letting those legs come out straight and windshield wipering left and right. Now we won't immediately go into the opposite way where we have our left leg on top. We won't then switch our right leg, okay? We're gonna do a few other stretches just to give our hips a little bit of a break. So I'll turn this way so you can see a little bit better here. If you have a strap to use, keep it handy. We have the option to use it in this forward fold. So let's talk about active legs for a second. So bend your knees, ground those sit bones again, and then spread your toes wide. So you want your feet to be open. We're opening up the sole of the foot. We're opening and spreading those toes here. Lift the heart, straight spine here. Inhale, and on your exhale, start to straighten the legs, keeping those feet active. And then activate the thighs here. If you reach down, you can feel your kneecaps. And if your kneecaps are wiggling around, then you're not activating your thighs. If they're all wiggly and loosey-goosey, then these muscles are relaxed. It's your choice if you want to fold that way, but you'll have a little bit more access to the back of the legs if you actually activate the front. So if those kneecaps are tightened down, one thing we want to look at is that we don't want the heel to come off of the floor, because then we're hyperextending our knee. So relax just a little. You want those heels to be firmly planted. If you're using a strap, go ahead and grab it, and we'll wrap it around the ball mounts of the foot. Not in the arch, but just above. Making sure the legs are active here. Each side of the strap is in one hand. Inhale, the heart lifts. And on the exhale, start to bend the elbows to bring the chest toward the thighs. You might walk your hands in. If you don't have a strap, you can just walk your hands down your legs. And once you get to the point where you're pretty sure that's as far as you can bend, you can start to round the back here. Inhale and exhale. And revisit that thing that makes you happy. Inhale into the base of the spine, all the way up the back to the back of the neck. Exhale out of the chest and out of the belly. And on your exhale, you might deepen. And on your inhale, you might lengthen the spine. And exhale to deepen. We'll stay here for a few breaths, so get comfortable. Taking nice, deep, even, steady breaths. breathing into the backs of the legs as you feel tightness and as you feel those muscles start to open up. Well, inhale, start to come out of the pose. Again, moving really slowly here. We're not asking the body to do a lot, but we're doing a lot for the body. So we'll take our right leg and bend that knee, cross it over the left leg, and then I'll be twisting away from you. So we'll go ahead and explain. We'll inhale our arms up, and on our exhale, we'll bring the right hand back, and the left elbow will hook to the outside of the right knee. So we'll inhale, lengthening the spine, using that back arm to straighten. And on your exhale, turning to twist behind. Keeping the left leg active, opening the left hand. Inhaling, lift. Exhaling, deepen. Inhale, start to untwist. Bring that right leg back over the left leg and straighten it back out. And we'll twist the opposite direction, bending that left knee. Bring the left foot over. Inhale, both arms up, ground into those sit bones. And on your exhale, start to bring the left arm back and the right hand hooks around the left knee. Using your inhales to deepen into the twist. Inhales to lengthen, exhales to deepen. Keep that left foot grounded onto the mat. One more deep inhale here. Deep exhale. And on your next inhale, start to come out of the twist. Uncross the left leg. Straightening that left leg and windshield wiper it out. And we'll come back to an easy sit. Come into an easy sit here, grounding into both sit bones, lifting through the belly, through the chest. Bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest here. Inhale. And exhale. Just noticing any differences in your body so far. And then blink the eyes open and we'll switch our cross. So whatever leg is in front, we're going to switch it. And it's a little awkward at first, but as you practice switching your cross more and more, it gets more comfortable. So inhale, both arms lift now. Exhale, folding at the hips, all the way forward. If you want to make this stretch a little bit more intense, you can always activate your feet. Press the palms into the floor, opening up the bottoms of the arms, stretching those shoulder blades apart from one another. Really stretching into the upper back. You might start to move your chin up and down. look up at the hands. Exhale, walk the hands to the right. Keep that left sit bone grounded. Inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, fold. If you need a little bit of help creating space here, you can always bring your left hand to the top of the left knee, but keep your chest over that right leg. Find that thing that makes you feel happiness. Inhale, bring both arms back out if one is helping. Exhale, walk through center to the left side. The chest comes over the left thigh. The arms stretch forward here, and the head starts to drop. Again, you have the option to bring your right hand to your right knee. Keep your chest squared to the ground. Breathe into any tightness. One more deep breath here. Bring both hands out straight again. Inhale. Exhale, walk to center and fold deeper. Inhale, come all the way out. Uncross the legs and windshield wiper them again. And we're going to start to move a little bit more now. We're still keeping it very slow, but there's not quite a stretch that does as good of a job for the whole body as down dog. So we'll move into that now. If you have a blanket handy, go ahead and fold it and place it on your mat where your knees would be. And then we'll bring the hands down for tabletop. Spread both palms wide, planting the fingers, and start to move the finger knuckles into the mat. Inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze for cow. Exhale, untuck the toes, round the back for cat. Move through a few cat-cows here. Inhale, lift for cow. And on your next exhale, start to move into your down dog. Extending the heels, opening up the calves and the thighs, pressing those arms into the mat, and start to spiral the arms toward one another, bringing the eyes of the elbows forward, hugging the armpits toward one another, squeezing the shoulder blades down the back, lifting through the palms, extend the hips behind you. Inhale here and exhale, resting in this posture. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale, start to come back down into tabletop. And here's where you may grab some blocks. So if you have 2 blocks, you'll want them on either side of the mat. If you only have 1 block, then for now, just have it to the right side of your mat. So we'll come back toward that tabletop. Both hands are either on the blocks or on the floor. And we'll start to step that right foot forward, coming into a low lunge. If your toes are tucked behind you, you can untuck them here. If you don't have 2 blocks and you just have 1, you can support yourself with the right hand. If you have both, bring them a little outside the shoulders. Ground into the heel of the right foot, and then the ball mount of the foot, and then the toes. Your knee is directly over your ankle here. Inhale, start to lift the heart. Reaching all the way through from the top of the left knee all the way up the body. I don't think you can see my face now, but that's okay. You get the idea. Inhale here. And on your exhale, start to bring the hips back, straightening through that right leg, keeping those right toes down. So we're stretching now through the top of the calf and the back of the right leg. You can keep using your blocks, or maybe just bring finger tips down. Actively press those right toes into the floor. Lengthen the spine here. Inhale. And on your exhale, start to fold forward any amount. We're actively pulling the right hip back, the left hip forward to keep those hips squared. Inhale, and on your exhale, pick those right toes up and open the foot here and bring an active leg to the right side. Stretching through the back of the calf, the back of the hamstring here. If you're using blocks, you can come out a little bit. Inhale, and on your exhale, start to come back into that low lunge. And we're gonna lift one more time here. Tucking the abs in, lift through the heart. You can bring your arms up or keep them down. Inhale, exhale, bring the hands back to the mat. We'll tuck those back toes, plant the hands, and step it back to plank. Take time here to get your wrists under your shoulders. Open up those hands, tuck the abs, lengthen through the heel and the top of the head. Inhale, exhale, drop the knees, spread them wide, and come back to child's pose. Breathe here into the back body. You might flip your palms to the ceiling, to the sky. Inhale, walk the hands toward the body to come out of child's pose. And then we'll switch to the other side. Come back up onto the knees, step the left foot forward this time. Find your placement here. The ankle of the left foot should be immediately under the knee or even a little bit forward. Ground into the heel, and then the ball mount, and then the toes. If you're using blocks, bring them. Inhale, start to set the hips forward, keeping that alignment here. If you start to go through where your knee is over your ankle, just scoot your foot forward a little. We're bringing that left hip back, the right hip forward to keep them square. And then as your inhale starts to lengthen, bring the heart up and the gaze. Stretching through the fullness of the right side, from the right shoulder all the way to the top of the right knee. The abs are lightly engaged. You might inhale your arms up. Take a deep breath here. And on your exhale, very slowly start to bring your hips back. Keep those left toes grounded as we start to straighten that left leg. The toes are actively reaching for the mat so that we can stretch all the way through the shin here. And we're reaching this hip back. We don't want to let our hips open so that our right hip comes back and our left hip comes forward. We're keeping our hips squared. Using blocks or just coming all the way down. Inhaling, exhaling, deepening. And find that thing or that feeling of happiness. Letting your forehead and your temples relax. The jaw relaxes. And we find a small smile. Inhale. And exhale. And then we'll start to pick those left toes up. And you might walk your hands back a little. If you're using blocks, you might even bring them all the way back to your knee. Lifting the heart here to really get the back of the calf all the way to the back of the thigh. Using the exhale to fold if you choose. And I'll remind you that although we're not doing a lot of work, the work that we're doing is doing a lot of good for our bodies. Sometimes this type of practice is harder than a more active practice. If we're used to moving fast and strong, taking time to slow down and really get deep into our muscles can be taxing and harder than expected. On your inhale, start to come forward again into that low lunge, adjusting your back knee if necessary, coming all the way up, bringing your arms overhead or keeping the hands to the blocks. Inhale here. Exhale, the hands come back down. If you're using blocks, you can move them. Plant the hands, step it back to your plank. Grounding those hands, extending through the crown of the head all the way to the heels. Inhale, and on your exhale, move to down dog. Letting the backs of both legs open. Inhale, forward to plank. Drop the knees. Bring them wide and come to child's. The hips come back to the heels. The hands stretch out. The head falls to the mat. And again, you have the option to flip your hands to come to a more passive pose. Breathe into the back here. On your inhale, start to walk out of child's pose. And if you're using a blanket, you can keep it or you can remove it. And we'll come back to the other side of our hip cross. So we'll sit, and this time we'll bring the left foot under so that the left knee is facing forward and the right leg comes across. Again, meet yourself where you are. If you're here, that's okay. If you're all the way, your knees are stacked all the way on top of each other, that's great. And recognize that your hips are going to be different on each side. Wherever you are, ground into those sit bones. Stack one vertebrae over the other all the way up to the crown of the head. Close the eyes if you feel comfortable and safe to do so. Inhale, and on your exhale, you might start to fold forward. You stay here for a few breaths. So practice finding that happiness one more time. Inhale. Exhale, deepen once more. And inhale, come all the way up. And then we'll uncross the legs slowly, straightening them out again, and windshield wipering the hips. Now is the time, if you have any additional movements that you might need from practice today, whether you need to pause the video and do a few sun salutations if this was too slow, or if you need some bridge postures or a full back bend, a shoulder stand, or anything else that's in your practice. Now is the time. If you're sticking with me, we'll bring the soles of the feet together. Or if you're coming back, we'll bring the soles of the feet together. Coming into bound angle or Baddha Konasana one more time. And this time, we'll grab our feet and open up the soles of the feet like we're opening up a book. You may need to adjust your ankles a little. Inhale, the heart rises. And exhale, you may have space to fold forward. Keep those feet open here. Inhale one more time. Exhale, let the feet come back together. Bring the hands under the knees to straighten the legs. And windshield wiper them out. We'll move into our final posture of Shavasana. If you're using a blanket, you may want to go ahead and unfold your blanket over your mat, or take any other things that you might need to get ready for a few minutes of laying down. If you were fortunate enough to have an eye mask, now would be a great time to grab that. If you don't have an eye mask and you've brought a strap, you can always fold your strap a few times and just place that over your eyes as you rest. If you have a bolster, or you have a few pillows or a stack of blankets, bring that to where it'll be under your knees. And I'll actually face this way. Bring that to where it'll be under your knees. And then we'll lay so that our backs are completely flat. Our hips are even on the ground, and our legs are draped softly over the bolster. Take any movements you might need here to get completely comfortable. Whether that's taking your hair down so that your head lays completely flat on the floor, or any other movements or actions. And we'll take a few seconds to adjust here. Tuck one shoulder blade under and then the other. You might lift your hips and tuck your tailbone down just a little, opening up the sit bones. And then lift your right leg, extend through the right heel, all the way, pushing it away from the body, and then rest it back down, either on the floor or over your support. And do the same with your left, extending through the heel and resting it back down. Bring your hands to each side with the palms up, or if your mind is racing, with the palms down. Close your eyes if they're not already, and take a deep breath into the belly, up into the chest. Out of the chest and out of the belly. And starting at the top of the head, working your way down to the bottoms of the feet. Release each and every muscle. Relaxing the forehead and the temples, the sinuses down into the ears. The jaw falls away slightly as the tongue comes away from the top of the mouth. The front of the neck, the sides and the back of the neck. The shoulders, the tops of the arms, the elbows down into the forearms, the wrists, the palms, and the fingers. Breathing into the chest. And on your exhale, releasing the upper back, the mid back, and the lower back, the chest muscles and the abdomen. Breathing into the belly. Release the belly down into the hips, the right and left glute, the fronts of each thigh, and the hamstrings down into the knees, the right calf and the left calf, down the shins into the ankles, the bottoms of the feet, and finally the toes. Take one more controlled breath here, so notice any other tension. And on your exhale, let go of that tension and control the breath. As the mind picks up thoughts, acknowledge them and then let them go. If you need to focus on something, focus on the sound of your breath, or the sounds in your environment, or even the sounds in this video. Enjoy your Shavasana. welcome to stay in Shavasana as long as you would like. But when you're ready, start to wiggle your fingers and toes, your wrists and your ankles. And bring your knees toward your chest, coming into a little ball. Rock side to side, waking back up the spine. And bring the arm of your favorite side under your head as you roll over to rest softly. The eyes are still closed, so the gaze is soft. And when you're ready, press up to an easy seat. Grounding into those sit bones one more time. We'll inhale the arms up. Exhale the hands to heart center. Blink the eyes open. Thank you so much for spending your time with me and sharing your practice. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and that this helps to bring any amount of energy or space to your life. Namaste.